And good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Kingsport 1894. It's Kingsport right at the turn of the century, turn of that century. One of these days I'll do Kingsport 1994, maybe. I already did 1999. True story. It was at a con. I have my wonderful cast back with us tonight. I'm really excited about all of them, and hopefully we're going to have a great session tonight. So without further ado, my partner in crime who keeps coming back to these things, Serafina, who's playing Anathema Greenwood, our witch.
Hi, I'm Serafina, she, her, playing Anathema Greenwood, she, her. It's a family name. I don't know what everybody seems so weirded out about. Anathema started off the first episode actually seeming a little bit gentle and sad. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the turnaround to vengeful and horrifying. She is a widow. Her husband died fairly recently, and she is sort of on the hunt for who killed him and how he died.
I actually have details on morning, but I'll save them till when we get going. Next up, someone I'm very happy to have at our table, someone I've enjoyed playing games from and now I get to play games with Rich Rogers, who's playing Herman Cheltenham, our mortal.
Hello, I am very excited to be part of this. Herman, the mortal, is beautiful, usually wears shirts, has sad eyes, and he's the only upper-class member of our group of player characters. And there might not be just one of him, it turns out. We'll see.
I mean, think about the convenience. One can wear the shirt, and the other cannot, and everybody's happy.
We've seen multiplicity. We know this doesn't go well.
Oh, and next up, someone I've played with many times before, but rarely on the gauntlet. But not tonight. Tonight we have the pleasure of his company, Vincent, who's playing Patrick Kelly, our thrill-seeking ghoul.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm Vincent, pronouns he, him, playing Patrick Kelly, also pronouns he, him. And Patrick lives to die and dies to live. He's really embodying the essence of eternal return, and lives for the thrills no matter where it takes him. And usually that's the grave.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we all go, but you just keep coming back. Does he read Nietzsche or something? Because this is philosophy jokes, folks. It's hot outside. I mentioned it's hot outside, and I took a walk tonight. And last, definitely not least, someone I'm always very happy to play with, Sarah, who is playing Margaret Foster, our infernal, but with a very friendly and welcoming dark power, for sure.
As far as I can tell. Sarah, I'm she, her. I'm playing Margaret, also she, her. She's not too into the books. It's the people that can get you things. And so far she's doing okay. On a mission to find a particular book with a sigil on it that I will know when I see. It's got all the direction that I have, but spent all last night dancing. So I'm very tired.
I mean, it's not really J-Biz's fault. There's union rules about how he has to be. Everything has to be obfuscated, or he just has to talk it over with the shop steward. It's terrible. Cool. I am Kat, she, her, your mistress of ceremonies. I will be playing the role of the spinster, and like all terrible spinsters, including Emily Dickinson, who, after all, was an NPC in this game, I will weave you a story of mortality and God being missing in the world, and probably jonquils. So I'm a little loopy tonight, but where shall we start? So I've got two possible places to start. One would be with Herman, because I know you wanted to go and see Anathema, and the other would be with Margaret. So what do folks want to do tonight?
I think Margaret can go first.
I don't know what I want to do, though, so you can go first.
Oh, well, then okay, I guess it's back to me. Yes, though once once Herman is up, he of course is going to spend some time to take a bath and then change and get himself all cleaned up, and then he will ask Clarence, his driver, to take him to see Anathema.
Great.
So what is that going to be at the frippery store there, Anathema?
Yeah, I think that's usually where she can be found.
Greenwood's Fripperies.
Yeah.
What is a frippery?
like frivolous stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, like fancy frivolous nonsense.
Like, I'm picturing gloves, hats, trim for dresses, maybe fancy cloth, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe parasols.
Yeah.
The umbrellas of Kingsport. Okay, you two go. Have fun.
you kids run along. Fun now.
Is this the kind of store that has the little bell at the top, so when you come in it rings, or?
Oh, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, it really caters to like the upper class.
Oh, perfect. And I may have been here before.
Yeah, it's got all the bells and whistles. It's a very like fancy, quiet shop, like right in the center of town. In the hustle and bustle.
I think, Herman's trying to put his best foot forward. So he is dressed in a nice coat. His second favorite coat didn't make it last night, but this is his third favorite coat. So he's wearing that in a nice kind of houndstooth style, and then the slacks are in the same style. And so he comes in and peers around until he sees Anathema. Then we'll walk quickly over to her, dropping all pretense that he's shopping here.
Yeah, I think Anathema's mother is like behind the counter, and Anathema is just sort of like organizing things on the shelves. And as soon as she sees you, she like kind of stops what she's doing and she says, "Herman."
Yeah, he kind of gives his cap to Anathema's mother and says, "Anathema, good morning. Do you have a moment, perhaps, that I could borrow of your time?"
Oh, of course. Would you like to have a cup of tea? Maybe we could go in the kitchen.
There's a kitchen here. Yes.
Yeah. So you walk, like I, tell my mother we're gonna leave, and there's like a door in the back of the shop, and it opens up into like the kitchen and living room of her house.
Okay, and then he will look around. People live in their stores. He doesn't say it out loud, but it's writ all over his face. He's just amazed by this.
Yeah, so she quickly, walks into the kitchen and gets everything started, and then, comes out, offers you tea in like a beautiful, if maybe a little chipped tea set, and sort of sits down across from you and says, "What can I do for you?"
He would like take a sip, and this is quite good. I after our meeting, how was your evening after our meeting with the proctor?
Well, it was interesting.
Yes, my evening was interesting as well. A peculiar thing or two happened to me afterwards. I thought you always seem unflappable.
She like takes a slow sip of tea and says, "I assure you, my friend, I am not unflappable."
Well,
but I appreciate that you see me that way.
I did mean it as a compliment. After when we were dismissed and when you and Margaret and Patrick all left, I remained behind, and the proctor and I we had a very short dance. It was unsettling. The music I blame Josephine because she played, and you know how wretched she can be.
She showed up here and danced with me. Did it?
Were you able to keep up with her dance?
Well, yes, I've done that sort of dance many times.
I had never danced like that, and I was very uncomfortable, and I did fail to keep up with her. She was quite disappointed with me, and I left. I was upset. I've taken a great many lessons of dancing, and that was a very awkward. The rhythm was.
Herman, while I understand that not dancing well might be something that is very upsetting to you, what really happened? What is the reason you came here to talk to me?
Yes, of course. Then to the meat of the matter, I left. I was upset. I forgot myself and my carriage and attempted to find my way home, and generally failed abysmally. It was not until the morning that I made my way to my estate. It was unpleasant, but more so, and I'm sorry. Yes, to the point. When I arrived, the coach was there. Clarence, my driver, was there, and when I walked in, my maid informed me that I had been home, that the Clarence brought me home, and I have no recollection of that travel whatsoever. And I have these bruises to prove it. And he like pulls up his, he kind of pulls the sleeve and you can see his like nicely muscled forearm there, but you see a couple of like scratches or something where he kind of brushed against a brick or something. And I could almost tell myself that perhaps I had some absinthe and forgot myself. Perhaps, but here's the physical proof that I was not the person who traveled home last night in my own carriage, and I'm.
You're worried there's something walking around that looks like you.
Could such a thing be?
Oh, my sweet friend. And she gets up from the table, walks over to a bookshelf, opens it, takes out a very strange-looking collection of objects, walks back over, moves the tea, lays out a book and a deck of cards and a couple of other things and says, "Tell me, Herman, if I answer this question for you, could I have your handkerchief?"
Oh, well, of course. You need but ask. He'll reach and he'll pull out his little handkerchief, and he hands it to you because he's very polite and would do that.
Fantastic. And she vanishes it into her bodice or something. Let's find out what happened that night, shall we?
Yes, that's why I'm here.
I'm going to gaze into the abyss. Woof. I rolled a 5.
That's with your +2.
With
Goodness
my
gracious.
+2. That's not ideal.
May I ask, what were you using for this divination?
So I think the way that it looks is she takes your cup of tea, she looks at the leaves in the bottom, and then she takes your hands and holds them over. There's like a silver bowl with water in it, holds it over that thing, and then gazes into your eyes and then looks down into the surface of the water. She was just trying to find out if there's another one.
And I think that we like see the juxtaposition of the slight like scuffs and marks and on not anything
Yeah.
too much, but calluses and the like on your hand because you've worked for a living, and his hands are just
Yeah.
soft,
Yeah, for sure.
pristine, very.
Just gonna go ahead and mark experience for myself because that sucks.
That one's good, but maybe I don't want to do that right this second.
Oh, great.
Okay. So Herman, Anathema does all that. She stares into the bowl, and she just stares at it, and stares at it, and stares at it, and a quarter of an hour goes by. Anathema, you hear a snatch of faint and unusual music, and then look up. But probably to Herman's surprised expression, and perhaps if you look at the clock on the wall, you'll notice that a quarter of an hour has passed.
Woof. Did I just heard strange music? That's it?
Just a snatch, like a few bars.
Okay, I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna gaze into the abyss again.
No. After 15 minutes of waiting, Herman is totally freaked out at this point. Was this part of the thing?
She like lets go of your hands and sits back and says, "Just strange music."
I had heard of seances and that they were very entertaining, and this was actually not terribly entertaining and quite uncomfortable. And is there anything that I can do to help? Should I be thinking of something? It seems...
Apologies, Herman. I didn't think that it would be this difficult.
Is there something wrong with me?
No. I think there's something wrong with the problem. Let's see. What can we do to spice this up a little? What do I have? I don't have a sympathetic token on you except for the thing you just gave me. I don't know what to do next. I'm stymied. GM, help.
Why don't you think about it, and I will cut to someone.
Right. Cut to someone and I'll think about it.
So, Margaret, you are at home, yes?
Yeah, I've got like chores. My siblings have got chores.
So while you're out, so you live like on a little farm or something, right? Was that what you said, or?
Yeah, or near the forest. I'm not sure if it's quite a farm.
Maybe
there are definitely farms nearby.
Maybe you keep some chickens, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
like
maybe
a single goat.
Yeah. That's sort of little kind of very small scale animal husbandry. You're out milking the goat, and when you come back in, there are these packages. They're in these wonderfully elegant boxes with beautiful ribbons tying them up. There's a very long box. There's a circular box that looks for all the world like a hat box. There's some sort of shoe box, and your mother is standing over there. I'm like, well, would you believe it, Maggie?
Who are they from? Herman.
A messenger just arrived and left them. He said they were for the young miss.
There are two people I can think of who have sent me these things. Is there anything there?
No. The man just showed up, dropped them off, and then left. He didn't even stay for a tip. I would have tipped him a penny or something.
Well, I suppose we should open them, shouldn't we? Shouldn't I? I'll take the hat box one.
There's a lovely daytime hat. It's quite appropriate for the time, which, if I'm recalling my 1890s fashion, hats were rather large, and has yellow feathers in it.
And I put it on my mother.
Like, oh, it doesn't seem to become me, dear. Why don't you try it on?
If you say so, we'll try it on.
It looks quite fetching.
Like opening the other boxes.
Inside the long box is a quite elegant, but again, a perfectly suitable dress for making calls during the daytime, in yellow, with it's got sort of a striped pattern, the sort of darker stripes of satin-like material, also in yellow, trimmed with black and gold. And the shoebox has a pair of very nice walking pumps.
And I'm looking at all of this very light colored fabric and thinking, like, how on earth am I going to get into town keeping it as nice as it is? But I think I very carefully box it back up, lay the paper back over, put the lid back on. And what day of the week is that?
Oh, we said the library meeting was in the middle of the week, so perhaps Thursday? Perhaps Friday? Which is better for your plan?
Oh, I'm just thinking, there's stuff to do around the house all the time, but a day that I would go into town to visit specifically, probably Saturday, or maybe a Sunday, during church or something after that. Yeah, I'll box it back up and take it up to my room.
So I probably would not surprise you to say that Jabez is in your room.
And I've got my arms full of boxes and kind of move over it toward the bed and lay it down. It was you then.
Did they not become you?
It's very light.
But it is a good color for you.
If you say so. Personally, I think I prefer red.
At some point, when one embraces power, preference does not come into it.
Oh, doesn't it?
No. We have parts to play. You have been chosen to play a very special part.
In yellow.
In yellow.
Well, it's a very long way into town.
That perhaps could be amended.
Oh.
But now it seems to me you are asking me for a further favor, after I have given you generosity.
Well, all of the other things you've done, it seems a simple enough matter to change the color of the dress. Or is that beyond your power, sir?
Do not pretend you can sound me so easily about what the limits of my power are, Margaret Foster.
What is his demeanor right now?
Well, that's a fun thing. He's still wearing that completely white mask that covers his entire face. I suppose if you're going to answer something like that, you literally gaze into the abyss.
That's all right. Yeah, I think I just stare at him and wait for him to do this thing that I've asked. If you need be, this seems very silly, but I do have a move.
I know you do.
I don't know if this is something I want
Well,
badly.
Jabez looks at you and just says, "Do you not have a young man in town?"
I do. You know that. You gave him to me.
And yet you do not call upon him.
There's a time for such things.
I have given you the means to do so in the style that befits you, Margaret Foster.
I have chores. Do them.
Obviously, favors asked will be returned.
Of course.
Cool. I'm just gonna take that string on you. Don't worry about this. Everything is perfectly fine. Keep nothing to worry about here. Everything is fine.
So can I slightly amend that to do my chores and get me into town clean?
Yes, 100%. So let me go and let me go and see what Patrick is up to, and then I think we'll swing back to Herman. So where is Patrick?
I think that he's returned home, and he wants to study into this book that he's picked up and see if he can make hide or hair of the rituals within it on his own, or if he's going to have to call in some form of assistance. So I think that.
So I must here ask you, what is Patrick's experience with the occult?
I think that he's had the experience of being personally affected, but less so the practicing of rituals. This would be a first time for him. But I mean, he reads Melville. I'm sure he can figure out a little ritual.
Hey, I read Melville. That doesn't mean I'm about ready to read Crawley. Yeah, this sure sounds like you're gazing into the abyss here.
Which I'm also not particularly good at. So
that is unfortunate, isn't it?
might be.
You wanted to be one of them volatile ghouls.
Yeah, I would potentially argue that this is a bit of thrill seeking, and I do have a hunger for thrill, so I can get a +1 bonus to my roll, which would still not be enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that doing the actual ritual might be thrilling. Trying to puzzle out the obscure runes and Solomonic keys, probably not so much.
Yeah, that's fair. So that is a 5.
Well,
hopefully I figured something out, even if it might not have been what I had intended.
So where are you doing this?
I think I'm doing it in. This is our kind of place of dining. To call it dining room would be far too bold, but it is the place that once the food has been prepared, we gather around to eat it.
So maybe you and your family live in basically a boarding house situation?
Yes.
Yeah. So the way those frequently worked in this time period would be usually they were kept by widowed or married women, and they would just feed everybody because bachelors can't cook. Everybody knows this. Bachelors can't cook. So all right, yeah, you're down in the dining chamber, and you're trying to puzzle this out and probably just slamming the book after a while because you are a thrill-seeking ghoul. And you hear this little voice pipe up. It's like, it's hard the first time.
What do you know of it?
So Josephine pops her head around from behind one of the big big fake
Oh.
urns that your landlady keeps to make the place look classy and classical.
Josephine.
Now I'm picturing Josephine as a rather slight slip of a girl, even though she's a teenager, probably in a kind of ratty dress. Like, yes, sir.
Do you know this book?
Not that book, no.
But do you know books? Think better than most of us in the class.
I sleep in the McBride room often.
Does this one seem to be of any worth to you? And I slide it over toward her.
You maybe oughtn't be messing with that, I don't think.
Sorry, I missed that, Ken.
You maybe oughtn't be messing with that, I think.
Oh, I might have an interest. I have a feeling, under the right circumstances, you might have an interest as well.
What makes you think that, Patrick?
Well, you spoke up. Or do you just have an interest in me?
Thems that are called into the dark are the ones I oft talk to.
Then I think we might be able to have some form of partnership here. I'm attempting to make some kind of contact with one who may have been called into the dark.
Crossing past the gates, that's a tricky matter. Calling them past the gates is even trickier.
No, I just want to check in on the old chap. I don't know if he has to cross back over the gates.
Mm-hmm. Well, it'll come to a bad end. It always does.
You speak from experience?
And more's the pity of it, sir, yes.
I may speak from experience too.
And more's the pity of that, sir.
Not so much a pity. At least from my point of view. I think it is, looking at the chat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to call this ending, and let's just see where that goes. So, yeah, roll with cold, please.
Oh, with cold.
Yeah, if you're using ending here. I'm going to call this the implication that you're so dark that you're sharing this sort of thing. Let's just call that move called.
Okay.
That.
Oh, that is a good roll.
Please take a string on her.
Okay.
And she looks at you and says, "This is too hard for you to start with. Come to the library tonight about midnight. I'll be there. I'll help you."
I look forward to bated breath.
Cool. Okay. So possibilities arise that Margaret may be inbound to Herman's. Possibilities arise that Herman may have other things going on. So how do we want to do this?
Herman, I don't know if you saw my question about whether you would mind me basically like sending you away and saying, come back when the moon rises.
Oh yeah, I'm fine.
That could give you an opportunity to talk to Margaret if you want to talk to Margaret.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I'm sorry I missed that question.
Oh no worries. You were muted and not.
I was choking down pizza as fast as I could. So
important priorities.
yes.
Yeah, so you go meet with Margaret, and then when you're done, we can do our ritual thing.
Yeah, so
Lovely.
I like the idea that Margaret is finally showing up at the Cheltenham manse for the first time in a rented cab.
And because they use this move, you get to hint at what's the phrasing? An undesired twist in its nature.
Yes, yes. The you don't like looking at the cabbie. He seems very, very pale and very, very fleshy, to the point where he has his extremities wrapped in bandages and like there's still like folds of flesh coming out from under them. And he does not speak a word until you pull up in front of the manse. And then he just looks at you and says, "Have you seen it yet?"
And it's been like polite chatter from her the entire time about like the weather and the weather and the weather. But like I think there's this like when she arrives, she gets like caught by the side of the house, and there's a pause, and then he asks that question, and she looks at him and then looks quickly away again, and then looks back. Seen what?
The sign.
You said I would know it when I see it, and I haven't yet.
He smiles the most horrible of rictus grins and flicks the reins, and the cab tears off as if all the forces of hell were at its feet.
Rude.
So cool. What is Cheltenham Manor like? Is it out in the country or is it in town, like a nice colonial type house?
I think it's a nice colonial in town. I like the idea of him wanting to be around people that is the Cheltenhams were, they've been here for quite a while. They're not one of the most important families, but they are important enough.
I like. So I imagine you have enough for at least. We know you have a maid and a cook and a carriage driver. So I'm going to assume you probably also have a butler or the equivalent. I forget what those are actually called. So I am sure that he conducts Miss Margaret into the parlor. Not maybe not the good parlor because you're not entertaining, but into the visitors parlor, and quietly lets you know that you have a guest, and hands you her calling card, which Margaret, you probably don't remember ever having made up because you never did. But
they're in the pocket of the dress.
Yeah.
Oh, please make sure that she has some of our best tea. I will be there momentarily. Thank you.
Cool. So, yeah.
He spends a moment checking himself in the mirror, and then he will go to the room to see Margaret.
We get like this cutscene of Margaret checking herself in a mirror in the drawing room.
There's a soft knock, and then he opens the door.
Timing it just so I can turn around when you come in. Herman.
Margaret Foster. To what do I owe the
Do
pleasure?
you like it? Well, I bought a new dress today, and I have to show it off to someone. You do better. You have excellent taste. What do you think?
You look gorgeous. Absolutely. This is a very nice dress. It fits you so well.
Yes, and
We should
is
dance.
my dress red or yellow, Cat?
Oh, it's 100% yellow.
Oh no. Yes, would you like to dance?
course I would. Yes, very much so.
I practiced a bit last night, but of course, you're the best in the reading group. Everyone knows that.
I think I may have been supplanted.
By whom?
Anathema, of all people.
Truly.
Yes, she danced a dance I could not complete with the proctor. I wasn't there to witness it, but I trust that Anathema would tell the truth.
Let me show you the one I learned.
I'm delighted.
And take your hand, begin dancing. She also looks very tired. But you might be too polite to mention that.
Oh, absolutely. He would never mention that. I mean, that totally doesn't matter to him at all. And so how do you imagine this dance? Is it like a very genteel dance? Or you're dancing without music too, right?
Yeah, and she starts humming as you go. And I think it's familiar. But it's a waltz. Slow at first.
Let's see.
And she never goes as fast as you maybe fear.
Good. He really doesn't want to be embarrassed again. He's already 0 for 1 there, so 0 for 2 would really suck. Yes, so where did you hear this song?
Oh, it just came to me. You know, the way things do in the middle of the night. Do you like it? Perhaps I should write it down.
We could. It sounds familiar. It sounds not unlike the waltz that I tried to dance last night. How peculiar.
Who did you see you dance with?
The proctor. She asked me to dance with her. She seemed very intent upon it. But I was unable to keep up. The music was... I must say, your humming is far superior as a piece of music than what Josephine played when we danced.
I think as we dance, she just closes her eyes and he's humming that music. And I think I'd like to gaze into the abyss to are these two things connected? Is this music the same music? Is the proctor secretly what's his face? Chavez, or associated with him or something.
So we know how you did it with Jabez, but what does this look like while you're dancing?
I think up until now, her steps haven't been completely certain. Like, Herman's definitely been the better dancer. And then she closes her eyes and starts humming like in earnest, and it sort of clicks into place. And it's exact and perfect.
Oh, good. That's not scary. Yes, okay. Yeah, I invite you to gaze into the abyss. Well, that's like a 10, isn't it?
It is. It is a 10.
Okay. Cool. So your question was, are they the same, or are they connected, or kind of a hazy thing in for both?
Yeah, and particularly this thread of the music.
What you get is a vision of you standing on a stage in the same dress, and next to you is Mrs. Leroy, and Miss Leroy, and across from you is Jabez, and you have a very important line to speak. Of course, you don't know what it is, but it's like on the tip of your tongue. And there's strange and expressionistic lighting, and everyone looks both terrified and excited at the same time, and you cannot see the audience at all. Does that answer your question? The short answer is connected, but not the same. I have to give you that. It's lucid.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, and then like she steps wrong and it breaks. And I think it keeps dancing for a bit and then like drifts to a stop.
Herman would compensate for the moment with the misstep, kind of breaking into a slightly different rhythm, as if you were moving into some other new dance. But his eyes, they crease with a little bit of concern, but you did not appear you turned your ankle or anything. And he holds you close. Margaret, I hope this isn't too forward, but I want you to know that I care for you a great deal.
Oh, yes, I know.
Might I inquire if those feelings might be perhaps returned?
Of course. And she leans forward and like kisses you on just shy of your mouth.
Yeah, she totally rolled a turn on there. That's
So who's rolling here? Is it Herman or is it Margaret?
You did start this.
That's true. He did. If you think saying "I like you" is enough, then I'll roll it. I'll happily roll it.
It is the 19th century.
All right. Well, I carry one forward in earning a lover's heart or fancy. So I will go ahead and roll. And this is, of course, this hot. So I have a +2 because I'm immortal. So this is a +3 on my roll. Here we go. Oh, I rolled a 5. So it's an 8.
An 8. Okay, so your choice there, Margaret. You either give a string or do one of the things.
I think I give myself to you. It's like she leans forward and like kisses you just shy of the mouth and then like pauses and then actually kisses you on the mouth.
Sweet. Herman is quite thrilled with that, and I think that he would take the kiss. He's very gentle, but he would continue to kiss Margaret. He's in his home. He has no worry about class or impropriety or anything along those lines.
Aww.
I'm curious, Kat, because this is the 1800s. Would you let that count as a sex move?
With the consent of both people involved, we can call it the sex move, yes. I know Monsterhearts is strictly not correct to say, but I've always been willing to go. if it's a moment of extreme intimacy, we can totally do it. That's up to you guys, though. I think in this case,
That's a good point.
but if you're both willing to say so, then please do. It's lovely. You'll be in your darkest self before dinner.
Oh no, that's true because you're immortal.
Yeah. I was like, does she know what she's asking for?
Hmm.
The next time you take your eyes off of them, and the dog power loses string on you and gains a string on me. Yeah, I'm okay with this as long as that's what you want.
Yeah, it's interesting because like she's definitely like she's not told you a whole bunch of things.
Okay, let me mark that the dark power. Jabez, is that right?
That's what we've been calling him.
Uh-huh.
I have a roster sheet that I keep track of the NPC strings, so I certainly know. Oh, this is excellent. You guys are. This is excellent. Okay.
Do you mind if we cut away? Because I need to think about how Margaret feels about all this.
Oh yes, most definitely we can cut away. We have nothing established for yet, but I would be damned curious to see Patrick and Anathema together if we can figure out a way to make that happen.
Totally down.
Yeah. Trying to think of.
I think it's possible that she's like going around trying to collect things for the ritual that evening, so they could run into each other in town or in the woods or something.
Yeah. I'm likely
the
to
library. I don't know.
The direction of Josephine as well.
Mm.
So I think that Patrick would have less of an idea of where to go if he hadn't been told. So if you have an idea of where the witchy things can be found, it will make it very, very clear that he is out of place and up to no good.
Great.
That he should go there.
Yeah, so let's say I run into you. There's a strange obelisk out in the woods.
Of course there is.
Of course there is. I'm just handing this to Kat. Like, here you go. I have a strange obelisk. There's a strange obelisk out in the woods. A lot of people say they've seen fairy lights there. All kinds of strange plants grow out there. And I am going out there specifically for, arsenic and a couple other things. So I like run into you at the strange obelisk?
Yeah, I think I've been sent to pick mushrooms.
Great. So you don't hear me at all until all of a sudden you just hear my voice saying, Patrick Kelly.
Hello.
Oh. And she's, wearing like a dark, like black hooded, like her picture, like black hooded cloak and everything. And she says, carrying a big basket, and she says, why, what brings you out here?
Mushrooms. I was going to make
Poison?
Oh no, with these mushrooms, soup, right?
I wouldn't feed that to anyone you like.
I must. So it's not the ones with the on the top.
Well, it depends on what you want them for.
Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that it was for someone I don't like.
Oh, well, then those will go a long way.
Yeah. Then I have picked the right mushrooms.
And I think she like sort of slowly walks over to you. She like picks a flower as she walks over and she's looking at it. She gets very close to you and she says, Patrick Kelly, you're up to no good in these woods.
I suppose I rarely am. So if these mushrooms are distinctly for people one doesn't like, what are you out here gathering?
Similar things.
So who don't you like?
Well, I don't like whoever killed my husband. But I'm actually here because I'm doing a favor for Herman.
For Herman?
Yes, he had an interesting night the other night.
How much is he paying you to do favors for him?
Well, just little things, trinkets.
Do you like your trinkets, don't you?
I
What?
do. So what are you, who don't you like?
I might just be saving these for a rainy day when I find someone important. I can't get that by you.
Nope. um,
Oh, I've truth be said, I've taken a bit of a liking to Josephine. She recommended I go out mushroom hunting if I'd like to gather any small favors from her. These are being gathered in her direction.
and she sort of steps away from you and says, "Oh, Josephine. Good to know."
Is there anything that would be good for me to know? I've
No,
this morning barely spoken to her.
I merely thought your affections leaned in different directions.
Well, it hardly would seem proper for me to show those affections to one that I don't have permission to.
And Josephine gave you permission.
She practically threw herself at me.
Well, if that's the sort of thing that is required to gain your attention, I am glad that she found you.
Uh, Perhaps I can assist you with anything that you're trying to gather. Yeah, it's dangerous out here in the woods. Wouldn't want you to have to overstay your welcome, and you've helped direct me to the right mushrooms.
She takes a knife, like a large hunting knife, from out of her bag and says, and like starts to like leans down and like picks a couple of flowers and like cuts some mushrooms free and stands up and says, "Oh, I think I'll be fine." Do you need me to roll to turn on? Is the knife? Is he having a thrills feeling?
Oh wow.
Thank you. And if it wasn't the intent of your move, then no, but
Oh no, I think it was.
okay.
I think she knows exactly who she's dealing with. And I rolled a 7.
Okay. Let's look at my options.
Yeah, you can either give me a string or pick one of those.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to promise something that I think you want.
Great.
Yeah. Killed your husband.
What's that?
I said I'll find out who killed your husband for you.
Really?
I have the book. I have the means. I have the Thanatos, if you will. I'm excited to.
and like the look that she gives you is like a way warmer look than she has given anyone in the time since her husband has died. And she gathers her stuff around her and says, "Well, I'll look forward to that." And then leaves you to your mushroom gathering.
Good day, Anathema.
What is wrong with the Greenwoods? That's all I really want to know.
So many things. This is Daryl's fault.
Fair. So I think maybe we should take our break early tonight, since we kind of had like a good place where we set up some second half stuff. So, all right, why don't we do that and be back in 5 or so minutes? So it sounds like we have some midnight meetings planned here. With Herman and Anathema in the woods. Possibly with Margaret? Who can tell?
You would invite her.
Okay.
Going into the woods.
This is your first date.
Yes, that's right. My eyes have not left you.
Do you mind if we have a scene at the house again before that invitation is extended? I'm not sure yet if she'll accept. It depends on what you tell her you were going out there to do.
I'm a fan. I'm just a gal here asking questions, so you two figured out.
Yeah, that sounds good. So I think that after the dance, perhaps there's like a late lunch, and he insists that you stay. You guys dine in his little dining area, and then he says, "Margaret, I would like to ask if you would accompany me this evening for a meeting with Anathema."
Well, of course, in town.
No, actually, she wished to meet in the woods rather late, but I promise I will keep you safe.
And she like leans across the table and like puts her hand on the tablecloth, like doesn't take your hand, but it's near. And she says, "You really are perfect. Do you know that?"
Thank you. I just...
It's why I chose you over all the others.
I've only had eyes for you, Margaret.
And she looks a little sad with that. But she says, "I know."
Are you all right?
All right. Yes, quite. Into the forest. Or, not quite yet. But yes, I'll come with you. And you will keep me safe.
Of course. I think he then will like reach his hand over and put it over yours. He's just that forward.
Yeah, like turn her hand over and take it.
Oof, nice. Is she wearing gloves with that dress, or is this bare skin to bare skin?
Probably not when we're eating.
Well, that makes sense.
It is.
Yep, totally makes
I
sense.
remember them taking off their gloves in Downton Abbey. So
yeah, there we go. This is the Downton Abbey Monsterhearts. I love it.
I mean, fair. Cool. So, Anathema, where are you meeting these fine folks? At the obelisk, deep in the woods?
No, I think I meet them at the edge of the woods.
Mhm.
And wearing my cloak and holding a lantern. I've already set things up at the obelisk.
Well, are those woods lovely, dark, and deep?
Oh yeah, they are.
Take it away, Anathema.
Fantastic. All right. When you approach, really the only light is from like the moonlight above and like the glow of the lantern. And she looks at Herman and smiles, and then looks at Margaret and says, I wasn't expecting company.
I hope it
Would that
isn't
be a
an
problem?
imposition.
Not at all. I just hope that you're prepared for whatever we might see and do.
I have a strong stomach, my dear.
Well, we'll
Please.
see about that. And I think she turns and gestures for you to follow. And then when we reach the obelisk, she's like set up lights and other things. And there's, you don't recognize any of the symbols that are written all over the place in the dirt and like some on the trees. And it's just very intense in here. And she gestures Herman to like stand in the middle of this like half-made circle, and then holds her hand out to get to take his hand.
I think maybe as you step forward, Herman, Margaret kind of catches your arm and says, "Are you sure? Do you know what all these things are? Do you know what she is going to do?"
I haven't the foggiest idea what she's doing. It's all very
What
peculiar.
what did you come here for? What do you want out of this? There are other ways.
I certainly don't know any other ways. I worry that there is some sort of doppelganger, or someone is trying to steal my life, and I can't have that happen. I finally had someone to help make it complete.
And she... Do I have any... Oh, I do have strings at you. I think she leans in, like, maybe a little too close for propriety, and says, if this is the way you want to find things out, then of course you can do it. But I know someone you can talk to if you'd rather not get involved in all of this. And they're going to pull strings of experience points. If
So
you want
the offer, oh, yes, I do. The offer is, I just want to make sure what I'm agreeing to, so I do it exactly that. You're saying go away from don't do this, don't complete the deal with Anathema, and go see your darker power? Is that what you're offering? Or just so I'm clear.
Out of game, yes.
Out of game. Cool. Yeah, I know that's not what she's saying, but like out of game, that's the offer. I think he would reach and take your hand and then look over at Anathema. It seems you've gone to so much trouble. I'm so very sorry. I was unaware that Margaret could help me with my current dilemma.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure I'll find a use for all this.
Again, if you the supplies and the effort, if you wish, let me know how I can recompense you for the effort that you put forth to help me. I do very much appreciate what you have offered to do.
You can't really see her face as she like she's like put down the lantern, and she says, "Don't worry, Herman. I know you'll pay me back."
Of course. Well, I will see you at the next book club, if not sooner. Thank you again. Come, darling.
And yeah, she takes her hand and um,
Sorry, there's like a lot of text stuff going off to the side here.
yeah, so she takes your hand and starts to turn away. And okay, then we're going to start walking away. Back the way we came, I think. Or no. Yeah, back the way we came. Because my plan would be to circle back and go to some other part of the forest.
So you wish to encounter Jabez here in the forest?
I would like for him to appear in this circle right now, or like come out of the trees as we're turning to go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Anathema, you had a circle prepared? Yeah, suddenly he's there. A tall man in a dark hooded cloak with a completely white porcelain like mask that covers his entire face, standing in the circle, looks down at it, then looks up at you, Anathema, down at the circle again, and just shakes his head imperceptibly, almost imperceptibly.
Well, that's not what I intended.
Ah. Impeccable timing as always.
What an interesting place you found for me. A summoning circle, really? Are you that afraid of me, Margaret Foster? I thought you trusted me.
Of course I do.
I thought that you had love for me.
You know that I do.
And yet,
Step out of it then. You know you
for
can.
the moment I prefer to humor our little circle drawer. You are upset, miss? Would you care to try a test of will against will?
No, thank you. And she like reaches a foot over and breaks the circle. You can go.
But now I find I wish to stay. Herman Cheltenham. I have not had the pleasure of making your acquaintance as of yet.
It's good to meet you. You have me at a disadvantage. I assume that you and Margaret are related?
You might say that. You may call me Jabez.
Good evening, Jabez. It is nice to meet you. Why have you come to visit Margaret tonight?
Margaret asked for me to come.
This is who I met.
You must have much fondness for this man, Margaret, to require me to come.
She pauses, looks at Herman, looks back at Chavez, and says, "Of course. Anything."
What can I do for him, Margaret Foster?
Answer a question.
He just cocks his head slightly.
Where's the second? If he exists.
He looks at you for a long moment. I see. There's much unsaid. Herman Cheltenham, do you have a coin?
Yes. Reach into his pocket, and probably has, a smattering of coins. He'll pick out.
Be so good, sir, as to flip it for me.
Puts all the rest of the coins in his pocket and holds it in his hand for a second. Flips it high into the night sky and then catches it. Puts it onto his palm and then shows it.
Heads. Could you flip it again for me?
He picks it up and then he kind of rolls it over the back of his hand and then flips it again, catches it.
Tails. Third time shall pay for all, Herman Cheltenham. Please flip one more time.
Pay what exactly?
It's just an expression.
You know, Herman, we don't know each other very well, but if I were you, I would not flip that coin again.
Do you not wish to know the answer? This is the only way I can think to demonstrate it.
He holds the coin and he looks at Margaret.
Go ahead.
Very well. Flips it up into the air.
And it hangs there, spinning. Herman Cheltenham, what side of the coin is it now? Is it heads or tails?
Both?
And neither.
He's neither heads nor tails. Yes, exactly.
He pauses the coin midair so that it shows heads like hanging right in front of your eyes. And for a second, you see your carriage coming home through the foggy night and driving up to your house. Heads. He flips the coin with a just gesture. It flips around. Tails. And you get a vision of yourself stumbling through the fog.
Then I am cursed with a twin of some kind.
No, Herman. For a moment, your coin merely flipped. Now it's heads again. For all
You are
things.
saying they are. I was in both places?
Yes, Herman. Think on it. For every action, the other action could be said to have happened. Yes? It's just normally the string of consequences is such that we remember the one that led us there. Last night was different. Last night you walked into the fog and everything became indistinct. And perhaps you walked through a place that was stranger than you thought.
Perhaps. Is this something I'm in danger of repeating?
And if I told you there were steps you could take to prevent it from reoccurring?
If the events of last night are what led me to Margaret, then I would repeat them.
Excellent. Do you count yourself answered now, Herman Cheltenham?
I do, Jabez. Thank you.
Then I have accomplished the task you asked me to perform, didn't I, Margaret?
You have.
Now you must come with me.
Now.
Now.
I'm sorry, Jabez. I don't think this is an appropriate hour of the night for her to go with you. I have accompanied her here, and I will take her home.
I am afraid not, Herman Cheltenham. Margaret
No.
Foster, by the strength of our bond, I must command this.
And I turn to you, Herman, and just say, I have to go.
No, you don't have to go, Margaret. I promised that I would keep you safe. And then he steps, and I got my 5th XP from the temptation there, and so I have purchased mess with me, mess with him, and I will point at Jabez and say, I am here to keep Margaret and her honor safe. Jabez, thank you for your assistance, but you may go now.
Her honor is not in question, Herman Cheltenham. But were you trying to shut him down?
Yes, I am. I'm trying.
Je vous invite to jeter les dés. Please roll them, and let's see what them bones have to say.
All right. So I have a cold of -1, but I'm using my lover's name as a threat. So I will... Oh, you gain a string on me, by the way, for that one there, Margaret. So that gives me a +2. So I'm at a +1 with this roll. Here we go. That is a 4. +1 is a 5. That seems about right.
Do you wish to protect her honor, Herman Cheltenham? Are you saying thou shalt be her chaperone?
I am. Indeed.
Mark well this place, witch. They shall return upon the setting of the sun, and they're all 3 gone.
Anathema's just standing there in the absence of the 3 of them. Well, she closes the circle, like, sits down.
So I'm going to get back to you fine folks in just a second. I do think we owe Mr. Kelly a little looks in. So, Patrick Healy, do you go to the McBride room at night?
I do.
You will have to break into the house. Does that provoke any obstacles, moral or physical, to you?
Not moral, certainly.
Well, then it doesn't provoke physical either. It's not particularly well locked. I was just checking, just letting you know what happens. So you I don't know, punch in a window in the kitchen and just slip in.
And I assume fine just being already inside.
She's curled up in a corner in the McBride room. The fire is lit, but it's down very low right now. The gas lamps aren't on. So fortunately, being dead, you see well in the dark. So
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
go and I pour a drink for her, for myself.
All right. So she seems to be asleep.
I get down on the ground next to her and observe for a while, but then lean in and quietly at first and with slowly increasing volumes whisper Josephine. Joseph.
So when you get loud enough, she wakes with a start, crawls back going, no, 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 and then looks up and takes a moment to remember herself. There's no one here. I mean, there's not here now. And
Did I miss someone?
Miss Leroy is always about somewhere. Them that can hear are used to hearing me scream, so you need not be afeared.
Oh, I'm not. Here for a drink.
Thank you.
Oh. Shall we get to work? I brought your mushrooms.
You brought mushrooms?
You said to.
She shrugs, looks at the mushrooms you have, and well,
Should have been hunting for snipe while I was at it.
what exactly is it that you are seeking here, Patrick Kelly?
I seek to commune. I seek an audience with one Andrew Northwood.
Hast thou anything of his?
I'd like to say that he does. I'm trying to think. We haven't established before. What if I had his pipe?
How would you have gotten that?
That's what I don't know. And I think.
Well, actually, I can think of something that you could have done, but it's rather horrible.
Oh, that's probably great then.
I mean, it's not like you have any compunction about digging people's bodies up or anything.
That's true. I don't, but I would prefer to think that that they knew each other socially, so that I would have something of his from when he was still alive.
So tell me the story of how you got something of his while he was still alive.
Yeah.
Because I figure that however this story goes, it's interesting.
Yeah. And I'll toss to Serafina just one question of this. Did he work in the shop with the rest of the family, or did he have another occupation?
No, I think he worked as like a book printer's assistant.
Okay.
Like he had a whole other.
Okay, so I think if he was working with the book printer, and I think this may have been my initial in to the McBride house. I don't think that I worked as a book printer assistant myself, but I think I did have a degree of interest in literature, and a cheaper way of getting books would have been to get the ones that were considered not fit for sale. The covers had been stripped off of. And I think that he and I had arranged a degree of book exchange between the two of us. So I have a misprint edition of his favorite book. This will be another tossing this back, and I'll be doing this a few times. Serafina, what was his favorite book?
Oh gosh. I think he loved the Greek classics. I think his favorite book was a collection of like the Iliad and the Odyssey. Like,
Oh no.
no.
It was Ovid's Metamorphoses.
Oh yeah, it was. No, it was. Yep.
Yeah, because we have to have Orpheus and Eurydice.
Sexy. Seraphina, is this the second time we've had a game where people are using a classic Latin text as a pickup?
No, I maybe have a type.
Okay. All right. So she looks at you. Patrick, and it's just like a book.
It's one of the importance of Tim.
Is that not upon bringing coal to Newcastle? She stares around at you.
Not if it's a personal copy. Look at the dog-eared corners. You see this tale in particular resonated very well with him.
So she says, "Let me see thy palm, Patrick Kelly."
And I offer.
She looks at it for a long, long time, and then looks up at you and says, "Your lifeline's broken."
In many places.
Patrick Kelly, the thing you asked needs blood. Who's here shall give it? Not thee. There's no warm blood in thy heart.
Gosh, I want to do something that just feels brutal and violent and just take it from her, if that is not text card triggering or anything like that for anybody.
Just like slash her arm or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a string on Josephine?
I do.
I think you need to spend that string.
Okay, I shall.
All right. So she she sees you, and when you reach for your knife, she quickly pushes a bowl under her arm. She says, "As I thought."
Unless you have another suggestion.
Patrick Kelly, I'm minded to tell you that the thing thou doest is thou takest. You have taken thy unnatural long life. You've taken my blood. You take from all those about you, so that you may feed that hunger that gnaws inside your body. Speak unto me again why you wish to speak unto the dead man.
I do this not for myself. I do this for Anathema. She deserves to know the truth. And she deserves to know that her husband's soul can truly be laid to rest.
I think she has well and truly merited that name tonight.
Well, we've gathered the blood. We have gathered the token. What more is there to do?
Not but the drawing of the circle, the lighting of the candle, the saying of the prayer. Art thou really ready for this?
I've never been more ready for anything in my life. He lies.
Alrighty. So, I think you are looking into the abyss
I think I am.
for, actually, no. You know what you're doing? You are rolling keep your cool except with dark instead of cold.
Okay.
And I will explain why in a moment.
That is a very good roll.
Cool. You're going to get to ask me a question. So she draws the circle. She puts the blood in the middle. She lights a candle. She opens the book and begins to chant. And as you said, you see nothing at first until suddenly you start to see the blood begin to lower the level in the bowl. And then you realize that you can see some sort of shadow being cast by something that is not there. And as the blood continues to be lapped up, you now realize something takes shape, that it's something twisted and awful. It doesn't look human. It looks basically like some kind of humanoid torso that's just in the circle. And it looks up at you and its eyes flash, but you rolled a 10. So you're able to stare it back and wait, because it leaps out of the circle and claws into your back and crawls around you, and you can feel its dreadful weight on you.
So I believe I get to ask a question.
Yes, you do.
What ritual has actually been performed by Josephine?
She has summoned you. You can feel this is the soul of Arthur.
All right.
It's just gonna ride you. You can already feel your muscles beginning to respond to its will, and it hurts. The claws just never stop digging. Why don't you take another harm there, my friend?
All right.
Don't worry, it's But I mean, when you die, you come back. I mean, usually it's not like now the writer can drag you to hell. So I would like to give a short respite to Anathema, because I'm sure that's where you're headed next. So why don't we check in with our happy little triad? So the three of you are standing on the sandy strand of what looks to be a very large lake. And the sun is sinking beneath the lake, but above it burns like a red ember another sun. And go ahead.
Margaret turns to you, Herman, and says, "You shouldn't have done that."
I made a promise to you.
The only reason you made it is because I wanted it. You in the first place. Don't you get it?
No.
And she points her finger. Is Java's here somewhere?
Oh yeah. He's just
She raises a finger and points to him and says, "The only reason you love me is because he made you do it." I feel like that's a shutdown.
I feel like it is too. Oh, by the way, in case you were wondering, you're in your darkest self.
Yep. Shivering and alone.
Yep. Well, you were supposed to be shivering and alone, but now you're shivering and together.
Is that a 6?
That is a 6.
Jabez looks just you when you say that, and Herman maybe is about ready to respond, and Jabez just hisses in a way you've never heard. Is silence, impertinent girl. Dost thou love me, Margaret?
You're the only thing that makes me feel worth anything.
And yet, you've brought your friend. Or, Herman Cheltenham, do you love this girl?
I do. Even if it is unrequited.
What would you do for her? Would you take upon yourself some of her burden?
I know that her family is not rich. If they need that assistance, I would gladly give it.
I do not speak of pecuniary matters, Herman Cheltenham.
He thinks to himself, that's what the poor people say. But, but he doesn't say that aloud because he's far too polite.
Checks out.
I don't know what you have said to Margaret to make her think that you have ensorcelled me, but I have cared for Margaret since I first saw her in book club, and there was nothing you did about that because I did not even know you existed until this very night. Therefore, yes, I love Margaret, and I would do whatever she needs me to do.
The question is not what she needs you to do, but what I need her to do. But it sounds to me that you wish to take upon yourself some of that burden. How touching. Cool. So I'm just gonna rearrange a couple strings here.
Okay. I think if it's okay with you, I might be forgiving Margaret, excusing her base nature here.
Oh wait, yes, that's right. That you have a move for that, don't you?
Yeah. Does that check out? Does this seem? Yeah.
I think so. Yes.
All right. There we go.
We need. So you just need that other advance so that you can take that one where you share 5 strings, right?
Yeah. Entrenched. Yep. I'm after that next.
Fantastic. So. Well, children. Now you
also. I think someone. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Kat.
no.
But I think someone should probably gain a string on me because I've gone so far down the rabbit hole right now.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
This is fantastic. Jabez now has more strings on you than on Margaret.
Okay. Yeah. The Margaret. That seems that checks out.
Well, now it's the moment of the test, Margaret. It's one thing to dance. 'Tis another to survive to prove to me that you can live in this city.
And yeah, she like steps forward across the, like, it's not sand here, just small stones. You hear them like clicking together. What do you need? I'll give it.
For tonight, only your survival. Turn around, Margaret. Turn away from the lake.
I do so.
Stretching all around the lake is a vast, smoky, smoggy industrial city. It is London and New York and Rome all wrapped up into one. There's an almost Byzantine air to the whole affair. Walk the streets of my city tonight. When the night is over, I will return you.
And she begins to walk, passes Herman, I think, and like meets your eyes. And looks almost sorrowful in that moment. And then looks away and continues past you. I think like the air even is like smoggy and thick. It's like walking in fog.
It is indeed. It's almost as if waves of mist roll off the lake. If I were thou, Herman Cheltenham, I would stay close to her. She has been given gifts that you lack.
Do you assume that I would let her out of my sight? Then he walks after her.
I shall come for you when the night is over. I do not say sunrise, for there is no sunrise here. Okay, so I'm gonna think about what to make you do for this, but as soon as I can get my cat off my book. Thank you, Shadow. You're well named tonight. You're very appropriate. You're on point. You're totally on point here. But in the meantime, so Patrick,
Yes.
are you seeking out Miss Anathema?
Yes, I think that the spirit of Andrew would want to seek her out at home, so might beat her back home from her visits to the woods. So what I envision is Anathema coming home to find Andrew, Patrick inside already.
Great. That's not unsettling at all.
And do a bit of scene setting with this. So Anathema, what does Andrew drink at the end of a long day? Does he have alcohol? Does he have tea? What's his ritual?
I think he drinks tea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that when you arrive home, you can already smell the tea that he would make each night brewing.
Great. And are you just sitting in my living room?
Um, I think that he's still making the tea service when you arrive. Would you say that the two of you would have tea together and recount the events of the day?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's prepared a cup for you as well. And
And what else did you want to say?
How did he carry himself? Did he lead with his chest? Was he not a proud man? Did he lead with some other part of his body?
I think he was actually a very upright person. Not like puffed up, but like just good posture, that kind of way of standing.
Which I think is in contrast with Patrick, who I think led with his shoulders, would kind of lean forward a bit. And so you see Patrick, but holding himself much more upright than you would be used to.
Cool.
Yes.
Great.
My dear, you're much later home than usual.
Patrick? What are you doing here?
This is but a vessel. Not particularly to my liking, but whatever it takes to see you again. Sit, please. And he brings the tea service over and sets it down and pours a cup for you. Do you take milk or sugar or just plain tea?
You should do sugar.
He prepares it just how you like it.
Who are you?
Well, I might have physically changed, but please don't tell me that you don't recognize me. We're married a long time. You weren't married a long time. You're 19.
Yeah, a year.
Yeah.
Ish. She takes a step towards you and like starts to tear up. And she says, Andrew. How is this possible?
Well, you have resourceful, stubborn, and sometimes stupid friends.
Is Patrick all right? What? How? She just she collapses onto the sofa. She just kind of can't cope.
I think that he catches you as you fall and helps you down to seating. My dear, I've missed you so much.
She reaches up a trembling hand and sort of caresses your face. I can't believe you're really here.
I don't know how long I'll be able to stay. If I'm lucky, I won't be leaving. If I'm not, if I know the nature of these things by daybreak, I might be gone.
What happened to you?
I'm just taking a look at. Oh, that's the Dark City. Sorry, that's note to other folks.
Yeah.
Well, what happened to me? That's the difficult part of this. Because you should know as well as I do. Add a night where the fog lay as thick as it did these past couple nights. I got lost in it, and you found me. And that is what brought my end. Why did you kill me, Anathema?
I didn't.
I saw you. Why?
I didn't kill you.
I was tossed into the moors. You tossed me.
No. No, that's impossible.
And what would I envision if this works for everybody? I think that he makes to strike at you, but can't controls Patrick's body to do that.
Mm. Okay.
And is forced out.
Oh, okay. So he like the possession goes away because Patrick won't let him hit me.
Yeah.
Great. Not freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
And I think he's Patrick now devoid of the spirit is just collapsed on your floor.
She grabs hold of you and is shaking you and calling for Andrew and Patrick intermittently because she doesn't know which person's there.
And I think Patrick comes to. Where?
Patrick?
What happened?
And she just bursts into tears and like wraps her arms around you and is just like sobbing on you on the floor.
And I think that's a scene cut. Do you think that's a scene cut?
I think that's a scene cut. I think that's great.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Def. Cool. That's horrible. That's awesome. I love you guys. So yeah, there's some folks in a dark city. So folks, how you guys doing?
Great. I rolled.
Oh, did you? Ooh, excellent. That's excellent. Well, you hold one.
I have not yet
And-
rolled. I'm looking for things. So anything I can do. Yeah, I don't think I have anything to benefit me here. Here we go. I rolled an 11 and I have a 1 dark, so that's a 12.
That's fantastic. You hold 3.
Yay!
You can so folks, I wrote a little move in the chat, which people watching this will go, what the hell are they talking about? But it's a little labyrinth move, and if you can spend your hold to to get a gift, if you wish. Between the two of you have 4 hold.
Indeed.
But also I have to do something to our dear friend. Fortunately, I made some notes. interesting. Cool. So, Margaret, as you walk through the streets, you come upon a Harlequin troupe. They are carrying staffs, and they wear fool's caps, and their bells jingle, and they wear masks that have a Harlequin pattern upon them, and they all look up at you and all cock their heads simultaneously.
Keep going.
So a couple of them get up and bar your way with their sticks and say, "Sister, sister, sister."
Are you like me?
We think you are like us.
How long have you been here?
How old is a spider's web?
An hour? A day?
But how long have spiders been spinning webs? Are they all different webs, or are they the same web, just iterated? Sister, we have things for you. They hold out a hat. We have things for you, and they hold out a mask.
Are they his? Will it make me feel warm again?
One can never be made anything, sister. One makes oneself. It's just here. The forms that you can take are somewhat different.
That's not true. I couldn't make myself anything
Look upon
before
us.
him.
We are both shadow and light, and you are like us, trapped in a pattern as well. Won't you dance?
A look of like utter relief crosses her face when they say that, and she reaches out and and takes them, the mask and hat, and doesn't even look at you, Herman, and she steps forward.
So the Harlequins, Herman, begin to dance. They each have a staff, and they're turning them in various fancy moves and iterations. So there is something vaguely martial and vaguely menacing about the whole affair. And in the middle dances dear Margaret. What do you do?
I stand there shocked and trying to understand why she feels so cold and what I need to do. Help her. She would just take these gifts from these other strangers and I watch them dance for a while, and then I think I can't help but walk in the middle of them and try to take Margaret's arms. Margaret, you don't need to listen to them. You don't need to dance their dance. We can make it through the night, like Jabez said.
And she takes your hand and tries to pull you in.
He's not going to fight that.
into the dance.
I will only dance with you.
Do you have any strings on me?
I do. I have a couple of them. I think I will spin a string on you now to tempt you to come away with me and leave these harlequins behind.
Okay. What do you say? It's like I start pulling you in. Like there's all the other pairs like dancing around us, and it's that waltz, that same step that I was trying to lead you in before. And the music is discordant and strange.
Margaret, this is not our dance. This is not our song. Please, we need to continue. Please.
And you feel like her grip on your hand slacken a little bit. And then she looks at you, and it looks like when she stepped forward, her attention was only on them, and now it's on you, and it's like she's seeing you and hearing what you're saying. For the first time, like since the forest, I think.
There you are. Let's come away together.
I'm sure I'll go with you.
Let's find our way home.
Margaret, what do you take with you from the dance?
Physical or
Open-ended. It can be physical. I mean, they gave you a cool mask.
I think I definitely take the mask. And I think one of them slips like a piccolo into my pocket.
Cool. That's not totally not frightening. Excellent. Okay, cool. So you have hold to spend. How do you plan to use that?
Oh, could that be? Because I can get a gift for that,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If the piccolo is somehow useful.
It is now.
Yeah, we needed 4 hole to get out.
Oh, I thought just 2.
Are you talking out of character? We had 4 hole.
Out
You spent
of
one.
character.
Out of character. So in character, I think Herman's just like he is wholly focused. Got to get Margaret out of this. He's not worried about gifts from this crazy place. I mean, it's interesting and fascinating and all that, but he is going to reserve his hold in hopes of finding a way home.
So you have 3, I think, and it takes 2 to reach the end of the night. That does leave me 1 extra if you'd like to.
It takes 2 per person, doesn't it? Or am I misreading it? Does each person need to spend 2 to get out? Or is it 2 for us both to get out?
I think right now the most interesting way to answer that question is you only need the 2, because that way you can spend your hold on something.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. I thought this was like a labyrinth move and we were going to have to go through some trauma and then we get to roll again. Sorry.
Either way, but
recite wisdom or an item. I will spend 1 hold. I don't want an item. I think some foresight would be helpful. Some understanding.
Some understanding. Sure, about what?
About how to help Margaret. How to help her feel warm. How to help her feel complete.
You come upon a ruined fountain. Around it, lines of people in dark and somber clothes with grimy hands and faces are filling up bowls with water. There's only a trickle that comes out of the ruins of the fountain, but that's all they have. Then you hear the clop of horses' hooves, and a gilded carriage comes into view. It's, the horses are caparisoned, and there's a coachman in an elegant gold. I mean, the cloak looks made. It's sewn out of thread of gold, a cloth of gold, and it pulls up, and the door of the carriage, because it's a big, full box carriage, opens, and down steps a woman wearing a gold circlet in an enormous yellow dress from the style of several decades ago. And she glides out of the carriage and down onto the street and looks up at you, Herman, and you realize it's Miss Leroy. Has your dancing improved, dear boy?
I found a partner.
Good. You would do well, my dear boy, to make sure that she dances with you and not anyone else. Do you want to know a secret, Herman?
I do.
Always, there have to be 2 and 1. There have to be 2 ladies, and there has to be a stranger. Have you met anyone who seems strange to you tonight?
Yes. He called himself Jabez.
What's in a name? Had a rose any other name, it would still smell of terrestrial decay. Do you ever think about entropy, Herman?
Not particularly.
Would you ever miss it if it was gone?
I would assume so.
Sometime. Not yet. Not where you live. A poet will explain this far better than me. But death is the mother of beauty, Herman. Understand that. Here, when you drop the martini, you can separate it back into vermouth and gin. I know I'm making no sense.
I'm glad you're aware.
Good. Keep her away from the other one, if you want to keep her. Let me dance for her instead.
do whatever she needs.
Cool. Do you feel you got wisdom from that?
Yeah. So some stuff that Rich probably surmised that now I can funnel into Herman. So yes, some wisdom.
Excellent. Cool. So you do have that 2 hold though. So I think she offers you a ride.
I will take it, and I'll spend those 2 hold to get home. To get us home.
So after a while, you're riding down the lane in your carriage. You have the reins, and Margaret in her yellow dress is sitting next to you, and it's cold, and it's near dawn. The sun is beginning to rise.
And Margaret just like leans into you and just says, "I'm cold, Herman."
Never when you're near.
No, it's deeper than that. It's in my bones.
It's not you. It's Jabez. He's leeching the cold from you.
Leeching it. Yes. Because when he's pleased with me, it feels warm again, like sitting next to a fire in the wintertime.
What if he has never made you warm, but instead, sometimes, he releases that which he's stealing from you?
I don't know. I don't know what he's given me. I don't have money, or I shouldn't even be in that club with you and the others. That was another favor. Another gift.
There is no book club for me if you're not there. Did you notice how I didn't even seek out the books? That's not what I wanted to unlock. I can't promise to make you warm, but I promise I'll never make you cold.
Roll plus hot.
All right, here we go.
Don't forget your +1.
Yep,
because you've
so
got
it's this 3.
a million billion strings.
Whew, good goodness. Okay, I rolled a 5 plus 3 is an 8.
So that means I'll give you something I think you want. No. Let's do I give myself to you. I think she looks at you and I think just like nestles closer and like puts your arm around her and says, "What you said on the lake, that you loved me before I asked for you, is that really true?"
It is. Without a doubt.
I've never had absinthe before yesterday. I lied to you.
Oh, yes, you did say that. Oh, darling, I forgive you. That's quite all right.
You're making this so hard, Rich.
Just being the best mortal I could be.
Yeah, I think it's just like puts her head on your shoulder and says, "You make it a little bit better."
Good. He reaches over and kisses your forehead. I think he kind of hovers for a little bit. He slides down so that his nose brushes against yours. He tries to kiss you.
She kisses you once and then says, "Watch the road."
Of course. And then he'll turn.
Excuse me, I'm getting verklempt. I'll give you a topic. Okay. No, this is cool. Yeah, this is cool. I can follow the who. I could totally do this. Yeah. Yep. So I think we should do is check in on Anathema and Patrick. Since last we saw you were trying to comfort your dead man friend.
Yeah, sure.
Where do you take him back to Shay Anathema, or do you find somewhere else?
Well, we were in my place.
Oh, okay, right.
And yeah, I think her bedroom is on the ground floor. And so she like helps him to a bed
Okay.
and like lays him down. Like gets him a glass of water and like comes back and is like just crying the whole time.
Oh. Oh.
What happened?
Been trying to piece it together. I feel like I must have died or something. I was at the McReady house, and I was with Josephine. I cut her arm, and then all I can remember is just like an emptying out. It was very familiar. I've felt that way before, and the same thing happened before. That was how I found myself here in the first place. Not here, but in Massachusetts.
You passed out and woke up in Massachusetts?
It's foggy. I don't remember where I was before that, but I didn't remember being there.
Do you remember anything from when Andrew was here?
He was here? Where did he go?
I don't know. He was inside you.
Oh, Josephine, that wretch. Oh, I thought that I would speak with him. And I assumed that whatever we had attempted hadn't worked or backfired. And then I
wanted to speak.
Well, for you. You never,
Oh, Patrick.
you never knew how he died.
He told me that I killed him. But I
Wait.
didn't.
I know you didn't.
And now how am I ever going to know the truth if he doesn't know the truth?
I don't know where we can start, but I made a promise to you. I made a promise that we'd find out how he died. And if he thinks that you killed him, I know that you didn't. I know when you look me in the eye and you tell me that you didn't.
Why are you helping me?
Because I don't know how to help myself.
What do you need help with?
Letting go, I guess. I don't know. I've tried a million different things and find myself always waking up somewhere that I didn't need to be. And I'm sick of it. So maybe for a change, trying to help someone else, someone I care about. It's worth a shot.
She reaches out and grabs your hand and says, maybe we can find a way to help you, too.
Maybe one leads to the other.
Maybe know a few things. A couple of shortcuts.
You weren't so willing to help a day ago, warning me off.
That was me helping.
Oh. Looking back on it, maybe I didn't take the exact best approach.
When your family is like my family, you know more than you ought to, and you try not to tell everyone everything. Probably I should have been more direct with you about the book.
I wonder if Josephine had any other plans with it. I don't have it anymore. Still As far as I know, back to McCready House. How dangerous is it?
Very dangerous. And I think I have a few things I would like to say to Josephine.
I can be there by your side when you say it. I'd like to see the look on her face.
Well, you're more than welcome, but I think you should probably stay lying down for a little while.
You might be right.
She can't do anything else tonight.
No. Best of luck seeing to it. Little songbird. I think he passes out.
Oh no. Great. Good.
I am in the presence of evil genius. And Vincent.
Yeah. Lot feelings.
Okay.
Whew. Man, we're fine.
So, Margaret, do you eventually end up back home?
Yeah, because we were in your carriage, right? Like in the roll again.
I think so.
I think I'd probably go back with you rather than going home, which is probably not a good decision. I have parents. Yeah.
Plan.
That's fantastic. So you're gonna stay at Cheltenham. That's good. Cool. All right. So you ride back up at dawn. We have not really talked about your parents, have we, yet, Herman?
We haven't.
It's funny because I was just thinking, have we even defined if he has parents? I think he does. That sounds
You
fun.
do. You have Ernest Andrew, who is a lawyer in town, and Nellie. So they're both a prominent, citizen.
Mhm.
Excellent. So you arrive at the house, and there's another carriage sitting in the drive.
Is it a twin of this one?
No. It's a smaller carriage.
Good. You could probably see Herman pensive and.
But you have arrived just around breakfast, so good timing, I guess. But when you go into the house, you can see your father is sitting over coffee in the parlor with someone, and he looks up and he looks at you, and his eyes kind of like widen when he realizes that apparently you're just coming in, and then his eyes widen further when he sees Margaret. So, good morning, son. I'm glad to see you dressed so early. Nothing like getting a head start on your studies today.
Absolutely. Good morning, Father. I'd like to introduce you to Margaret Foster.
Margaret is just like frozen. Yeah, there's definitely like soot and like grass and mud on the bottom edge of my dress.
Oh, Miss Foster, do you go...
Hello. And like she actually does a little bit of a curtsy.
Feel free to call upon Marie. It must have rained last night or something. Terrible, dreadful. Yes.
Margaret is a member of the book club. We were out late studying.
Yes, quite late. Studying.
Well, I'm sure we'll have time to discuss your study habits in a moment, son. This is Colonel McNaughton, and he has come to me with a very interesting proposal that I should run for the office of a federal congressman for our district.
That is very interesting, Father. You will have my vote, and Margaret's as well, I'm sure.
silly boy, as if the girl could vote. Please, my dear boy, we're a good Republican family. But yeah, so Colonel McNaughton is looking at both of you like, well, I'm sure that a boy such as yourself could be a fine addition to our campaign team. And I mean, you're an upstanding young lad, completely above board in all your dealings, I'm sure.
Yes.
Well, of course, you don't mind if a few of my men just ask around town to get good testimonials of your character. It certainly couldn't hurt. Perhaps you could write something for the campaign, a biography. It'll go over very well.
Yes, of course. Father, Margaret, please excuse me. May I speak with you privately for just a moment?
Of course, son. Yes, Colonel, please wait for me a moment. So I guess he takes you back to his library / study with the, I'm picturing the big teakwood desk, and I'm assuming your father may have served in the war.
Yeah, I like that.
Maybe, yeah, he would have been very young, so he was only like a corporal.
Oh, it was just a corporal.
It made his fortune. Yes, son. What is it that you wish to talk to me about? And is it about the girl? Because I feel there's much unsaid between us on the subject of the girl.
Yes, and I wish to clear the air. First of all, I am fully in support of whatever you wish to make of this potential run for political office, and I will do whatever I can to help you. Separate from that, I am in love with Margaret Foster, and I wish to marry her.
Well,
and I thought you should know.
Old man, that seems more than a bit sudden. I haven't had a chance to properly even meet the girl. Can you tell me about her family?
I don't care about her family. I only want to marry Margaret.
Son, you're an upstanding and fine young man, and I hope you understand that by spring or next fall, I fully expect you to be taking your courses at either Harvard or Miskatonic. You're far too young to think about marriage, especially when there are far more eligible women in Kingsport alone. Let us not even speak of Boston or even Arkham.
Yes, let us not speak of them because they are not Margaret. My heart is hers. I do not wish to cause any rift or pain in our family. But whatever it is you worry that she lacks, I assure you she has. Or we can give her.
I feel you really need to be rolling plus cold here.
Oh, gonna suck on that one. Here we go. Yeah, it's just a -1.
I mean, are we technically gonna call this mess with me, mess with him?
I mean, sure, I'll take it. I will definitely take it. Sure.
Yeah. You know
take
what?
Another string, Margaret.
She is a threat after all. I mean, she's a threat to your father's plans to you.
So much a threat. Cool. So yeah, that's 2 strings you have on me just from this one move. Here we go. So now I'm at a +1. Here we go. Whew, because with that minus, I would have failed, but with the plus from mess with me, mess with him, I get a mixed result.
Yes, you do. You're going to take a condition. What would you like to do to poor Padre?
Oh, that's right. I can do things other than take a condition, so I think that's what I'm going to angle for. Let's see. I will gain a string on him.
Excellent. I put Ernest Cheltenham then on the NPC thing. Excellent. I'm trying to think of a good name for this condition. Disfavored, I think, captures it. Your father just frowns at you and says, "Look, son, if you expect me to agree to a match like this, then I need to know much more about the girl. You need to meet her family. And then perhaps you'll have my blessing. But if you think that I'm about to hand over everything that I have worked my entire life for to bring our family up from where we were, I need to be sure that my heir is going to continue to maintain our fortune. That's what I'm going to say to you, Herman, my son. So you make those things happen if you wish to be in my good odor again."
I understand, Father. I think that's reasonable.
Okay, very good. So what do you do after that?
Will excuse myself to go back to Margaret and attend to her needs.
This guy that I've been left alone with
Yeah.
in the dining
What's up
room.
with the Colonel?
Colonel
I think
McNaughton.
Margaret. Yeah, I think Margaret kind of drifts over to like the breakfast table. I think is where we're at, and like looks at him, and then picks up a piece of toast and starts eating it. You'll pardon me, sir.
Oh, no. I mean, please help yourself. I find that I generally get along quite well with just an egg in the morning. Back in the day, we used to have what we used to do when we were in Virginia was we would take the hardtack and we would boil it in bacon grease. Some of the boys had a trick where they would wrap it around their bayonets and then cook it in the bacon grease, and that was actually, I mean, it wasn't very good, but it was much better than it was normally. But I have the weakness of every old soldier. I talk about my days in the war.
What brings you to Kingsport?
Oh well, as Mr. Cheltenham said, I want him to run for office. He's a fine, upstanding man. He's a veteran. He's the respect of Kingsport. I think he'd make a fine addition to the House of Representatives. I mean, it's certainly not. Certainly, there's very little you can do to discredit that place.
Of course, yes. Well, I don't know him very well, but Herman is wonderful.
Well, he seems a good young lad. I'm sure next year he'll be. I'm hoping he'll go to Miskatonic. That's where I went. That's where I went to school. And make his fortune. He's got nothing but the world at his feet.
Yes, I know. No. Can I still give Jabez strings when I'm in my darkest self?
Oh yeah. Happy to take him. I'm down to 2 on you right now, so he's happy to take some more.
Actually, this might be better for Herman's father when he comes back.
Okay.
So yeah, she's like picking up a teacup pouring yourself a tea and just like holding it in their hands.
All right, so Mr. Cheltenham comes out trailing Herman, and he looks at the table. He's like, "Oh, I see you've made yourself quite comfortable, Miss Foster. Please, please."
I was just speaking with the Colonel.
Yes, he's a good man. He was my CO when I was in the war.
Herman, shall we? And I think as I pass to go to Herman, just like bear's brush my fingertips against like his sleeve. And I would like to give the dark power a string to realize a secret about someone you're talking to.
And this is Ernest Cheltenham.
Uh-huh.
Herman, do I have any breaks on the things I could do?
Let me take a look at our lines of tales. As long as we adhere to the lines we have, I'm okay.
Fantastic. Hey there, Margaret. So Jabez whispers in your ear delicately with a scent of rosewater. He's an embezzler.
And I nod as if in like, farewell. And really I'm nodding to what I just heard. And then I'll reach for Herman's arm. And we'll
Is that
go
okay?
into another room. Yep.
Is that okay
Blackmail.
there, Herman? Okay, good.
Yeah,
Just wanted
that's
to
good.
quick
That's
check.
really good.
All
Thank
right.
you for checking in. I'm good.
Um,
Disappointed, but I'm good.
it's the lying that hurts, Father, not the embezzlement I expect. Hey guys, that was a lot of fun. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Remember, folks, this is session 2. God help us all. I will see if we can do the thing. But otherwise, I look forward to seeing you all next week for some more weirdness. So thank you all again.